That's my secret, cat. I'm always angry.
Alright. I ran out of patience. On the roost!
Hey everyone, Captain, big fan of Spider-Man.
Avengers! Assemble.
Hello, Peter.
Hello and welcome back to the Infinity Saga and Beyond, an MCU fan podcast. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and I'm on my own today here as we're going to be talking about the first episode of She-Hulk from Disney Plus and Marvel Studios. So that's what we'll be talking about here. I have yet to watch the I'm Groot shorts, hoping to watch them sometime soon. Do a little episode about that at some point. It's been a busy time recently, and I was just away for the weekend. That's why this episode is coming out to you so late. So I apologize. And hopefully that means we'll be able to have some guests on, as this She-Hulk is 9 episodes long, running up until October 13th, which means we have plenty of time, as this show got moved to Thursdays here. We have plenty of time to be able to find some guests throughout the run of this show. So we're going to be talking episode 1 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Episode 1 is called A Normal Amount of Rage, written by Jessica Gao, directed by Kate Coiro. It aired August 18th, 2022 on Disney Plus. Here's the synopsis. Jennifer Walters' world is turned upside down after a freak accident leaves her with superpowers. So I guess I'll give my initial thoughts here. I thought this was a good episode. I thought it was a very solid start to the beginning of the show. I there was rumors that this origin story episode would kind of start. It would be episode 9 or 8. Sorry, episode 8 of these 9. And I thought that was going to be a little frustrating if that was the case. Instead, we get it right off the top here. We start with Jennifer Walters going over some sort of closing argument that she's prepping for this court case that she's in. And what happens right after that is she breaks the fourth wall. She talks to the camera after we hear mention of how she can Hulk out. And she says this is how it happened. And we flash back to when she's on a road trip with her cousin Bruce Banner. This is a few months before the start of the show. And while they're talking about if Captain America had died a virgin or not, a Sakaran spaceship comes in front, and it makes Jennifer Walters veer off the road, and there's the accident. And in this, she gets an open cut. So does Bruce, because he's back in human form. This is kind of one of the questions that Jack and I had. Jack, who's been a frequent contributor on the show, is when, at the end of Shang-Chi, when you see Bruce in the end credit scene, and he's Bruce and not Smart Hulk anymore, you're wondering, okay, what does that mean, right? Like, how is he going to reverse this? Well, they explain it here in this road trip scene where he has some sort of machine that is able to keep him as a human for the time being. When he wants to, he can, press some buttons or take off the machine. He can go back to Smart Hulk. So the machine gets busted on this accident. He also gets cut open, and his blood drips into her open wound, and it causes her to Hulk out as well. So in the comics, if people are unfamiliar, it was due to a blood transfusion on how She-Hulk got her powers. She-Hulk had her first issue, which is also her first appearance in comics, was on February of 1980. she's been around a while since then, but that was how she originally became the Hulk. Or She-Hulk. Got some of the blood. And it does make sense. I was listening to some other shows that pointed out, of course, that this makes more sense than a blood transfusion, because the blood transfusion, as Bruce mentions in here, he's unsure, right, if her blood would be able to handle it. He even says that at one point this should have been lethal because of the gamma radiation. And so far as he knows, he's the only one that can be able to handle that. But because they're family, she's able to handle that as well. And actually, she processes it a little easier, a little faster, and actually helps her, I guess, heal faster. And it allows him to use her blood to heal his arm. And there is the answer of how Hulk, when we saw him in previews, no longer had the sling, is due to this. So questions are answered really quickly here in the show. And I like that. I like that a lot. So, of course, if it was a blood transfusion, you'd wonder, okay, why would Bruce even want to give up his blood if he's worried this thing could happen? So having it just be an open wound that it ends up in, I think, is the easiest way to do it. Makes a lot of sense. Now, for the Sakaran spaceship, we're going to speculate here, all right? I'm sure other people have seen this speculation, of course, but, Sakaar is the planet that he was on during Thor Ragnarok, where he was the champion, where Thor comes in and they fight. All that good stuff happens on Sakaar with the Grand Master there as well. Why is that important? Well, this is a Sakaran spaceship that is in front of him. Hulk mentions later on that it is to deliver a message. Now, what we also want to mention here is that in the comics, starting in the Planet Hulk storyline from 2006-2007, Hulk had a child. So the Hulk made it with an extraterrestrial named Caiera, if I said that right. Caiera. She was introduced during the Planet Hulk storyline. So she has relations with the Hulk, has a child, and as it mentions here, after the Hulk left the planet, in the comics, by the way, Skaar, his child, Skaar, close to Sakaar, right? It's kind of like the same sort of sounding there. He emerges from a cocoon with the appearance and age equivalency of a human preteen. We don't know if that's how it would work in the show here, but yes, Skaar was conceived during the Planet Hulk storyline. He's come to Earth before in the comics to find his father. It could be that. I wouldn't be shocked if there's an end credit scene at the end of She-Hulk, episode 9, or somewhere in here, where they do deal with the fact that Hulk has a child. Not Bruce, but the Hulk has a child. Maybe that allows... I'm speculating here again now. I'm getting the wheels turning, because we've been trying to wonder, okay, if you're going to do a World War Hulk storyline, or if you're going to do some other sort of Savage Hulk storyline again, how do you split Bruce and the Hulk? Well, maybe the fact that the Hulk has a child allows these personalities to split again and allows the Hulk to reemerge, because mainly it's Bruce's mind in the Hulk's body right now. The Hulk had kind of given up after getting whooped by Thanos, and that was the whole arc in Infinity War of, don't make me just do your dirty work and fight for you all the time. Well, he never really got over it. Now, Bruce does say in Endgame that he came to an understanding with the big guy and that they were able to merge. But what if the Hulk knows that there's something more out there, that he has a child, that he has something else out there? He's got family. Maybe that awakes him. Maybe it makes them split. just kind of where my mind is going here. Again, we know who the show is about. It's about She-Hulk. We're probably not going to answer a lot of these questions now. But I wouldn't be shocked if there's an end credit scene at the end of episode 9 that says, hey, almost like the opposite of Ego with Star-Lord, where he says, I'm your father, Peter. But he's like, you're my dad, Hulk. I'm your son. And kind of leave us on, okay, we're going somewhere with where's next on Bruce's and the Hulk's story arc, right? It felt resolved because he finally got over it, fused them together. He was Professor or Smart Hulk, whatever you want to call him. Okay, great. Where do we go from here? Mark Ruffalo is not going anywhere. He wants to still be a part of this. So where do we go forward from here? Well, if we introduce his son and we have, how does that conflict arise in Bruce? Does Bruce see him as a child too, or is it just the Hulk that he sees as his parent? It's that kind of stuff that can make some really good, interesting changes to his arc. And characters are always growing; they're never stagnant. So that'd be good. That's where we'll stop the speculation there on this ship, but it's gotta be. I mean, why else would Sakaar be here? Why else would somebody be sending a Sakaar in a spaceship, right? It's gotta be something like that. Something about his time that we're not privy to from Ragnarok. So while Jennifer is trying to get Bruce to safety, that's where the blood contaminates. She transforms into a Hulk. She blacks out. She wakes up. She's going to go into this little bar. And, she's going to be walking into the back room where the bathroom is, and runs into a few women there who are going to help her out, try to get her all dressed up or makeup, get her shoes so she's not barefoot on the public bathroom. And then when she goes outside waiting for Bruce to come get her, here are some men who are trying to, catcall her, or, they're up to something. They're not, whatever's going to happen here is not going to be good for her. She hulks out again. Boom. Pretty effective here. We then have her wake up in Mexico, which is where Bruce's secret laboratory is. He explains that laboratory was built by him and Tony Stark during the blip, which is really cool. We'll see his bar where it says BB and TS for Tony Stark. I thought that was really cool. Just the thought of billionaire Tony Stark hanging out with Bruce and carving their initials into this bar. But this is where we find out this is where Bruce was actually able to meld those two, to meld himself in the Hulk, and having this space to practice and do all the science stuff. And Tony giving him access to that. That's pretty cool. Some science bro stuff, right? That's what they were known as. So some great stuff there in the Mexico part. He is going to explain to Jennifer that, her blood is able to handle the gamma radiation as well. There's a great gag where he says it should have been lethal, and she's like, am I gonna die? He takes a pause there, and she's like, am I gonna die? He's like, no, it's you're fine. She said, well, don't pause there. That's not the place to pause. I really like that exchange. So they kind of go back and forth a little bit, right? He puts her in with the spinning wheels, and he's going to have with the spinning wheels, the razors, as she's getting a little worried that she's going to die if she can't Hulk out. She does successfully Hulk out, and I love this bit too, where she comes out and Hulk just starts or Bruce, I guess, starts doing the, sun's getting real low lullaby thing, and whoa, easy girl. And she mentions why are you talking to me like a horse? And that's when the realization hits Bruce. And if you're unfamiliar with She-Hulk, it hits the viewer. Oh, she is not the same as the Hulk. This is how it is in the comics. This isn't something that's just made up for the show. She is able to function as Jennifer Walters while hulked out. almost the same thing as Smart Hulk, and they kind of make allusions to how these are very similar things. And we also kind of get some good character growth from Bruce here of like him learning, oh, there's no other guy in there, like there's no other person in there. And she says no, but what is really, I think, special about that is just like thinking about it as we sit here and think about, imagine being Bruce. Imagine being Bruce and having this other person inside your head that can that can come out whenever you're angry, who can get really violent, can be seen as a monster. He's going to mention this. Once you're seen as a monster, that doesn't go away. And at this point, it's episode 1. She's refusing the call. She is the hero's journey, right? Refusing the call and saying, I'm not going to be a superhero, Bruce. That's your thing. I want to go back and do my law stuff. And since she can easily hulk out and go back, she's like, I can easily do that. I'm in control. She has this great speech about how she has to be in control of her emotions all the time, or else she's labeled as difficult, labeled as, I forget what else she said, but the way that women have it of constantly getting talked down to, constantly thinking that they're not good enough, right? Is how men especially men in business, I'm sure she deals with this in her legal stuff all the time, is how they are, kind of putting her down that way. And again, that if she retaliates, she's seen as being difficult, right? It's not just standing up for yourself. It's like, oh, she's difficult because she just doesn't roll over when we say, like, get out of here, or when we can't call her, all that kind of stuff. So that's where she's at with it. Bruce is obviously listening. He's an ally for her there, which is great. And he's able to throw out, he says his book is like a 15-year plan, because that's how long it's taken him to kind of get a hold of it. When he realizes that she doesn't have that other being in her, he throws out like a good chunk of the book and says, all right, we're moving on. Don't need those chapters then. And I think their exchange, their chemistry, all that kind of stuff is just really great. You feel like they're family. He's kind of got this big brother type vibe. And that's awesome. It's really great to be able to introduce a family member this late on for Bruce Banner and have them fit in immediately and be like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that they're family. They've been family for a while. This isn't something that's just feels, like when you'd watch some of those early 90s sitcoms and they're like, oh, Cousin Billy's coming in. We all remember him, even though he's never appeared on the show before. You act like they have this rich history here. And then the next time they appear, they're recast. Right? Like it's totally different. The way that Tatiana Maslany plays this, she's fantastic as Jennifer Walters. She has great chemistry with Mark Ruffalo. And we get this great fight between them two where she wants to go and Hawk is trying to stop her. And we get to see Hawk's thunderclap again. We get to see her do like a sonic clap. We get to see them at one point when he's training her, throwing the rocks. When she, he throws one, she throws hers farther, and he's like, you know what, enough of this, I'm going to show off. And he just launches it into the sky. Gone. It's gone. Just the dynamic is so much fun. And you get the nice fight. You get them breaking the bar and then having to rebuild it together. She sticks by. She builds it with them. She is going to leave at some point. And that's the end of the flashbacks. He will let her leave. Now, we get back to the courtroom. She's like, remember, this is a legal show. She breaks the fourth wall again. She also broke the fourth wall while training with Bruce. And she's like, I'm not going to Hulk out. Don't need to do that. She's still denying the call here, regular hero's journey type thing. Well, we get to the courtroom. She's about to make her closing statements, and in comes Titania, who is a villain in Marvel Comics, and she's played by Jamila Jamil from The Good Place. If you've ever watched The Good Place on NBC, she played I'm blanking on the name. I'm finding it right now. Tahani. She played Tahani. But yeah, so she's playing Titania in She-Hulk. Obviously, this is not going to be the only time we see Titania because she's dispatched pretty quickly. Now, for people that don't know what Titania's power set is, so she was introduced in the 1984 Secret Wars. She's become a rival of She-Hulk. This is all on the Wikipedia. And she's been in incarnations of Masters of Evil, which is a supervillain team, the Frightful Four, which is another supervillain team. They go up against the Fantastic Four. She's apparently more recently reformed into an anti-hero. I doubt that's what we're going to be seeing in She-Hulk. I would doubt that. But she's got superhuman strength, stamina, durability, really good fighter. She comes in and just breaks that wall. And She-Hulk is able to fight her off. Jennifer fights her off pretty easily. Then she says, I am ready for my for my closing argument, and we get the credits. End credit scene comes back, and it's them at the bar. We get her talking all about they're back on the Cap Virgin storyline debate, and Bruce lets it slip that yes, Cap did lose his virginity in 1943 on a USO tour. Most likely the girl we see walk up to him that is the same actress as Meredith Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy. Not related as characters, but she played two characters in the MCU. And there you have it. That was the end of the first episode of She-Hulk. Overall, really dug it. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Like I said, very solid pilot. It may have benefited from having 2 episodes launch at once, but critics have seen 4. So watch out there if you're trying to avoid spoilers. Critics have seen 4 episodes of this show. I am excited for Thursday so I could sit down and watch the second episode. Remember, since these are 9 episodes, they're going to be more along the 30-minute mark. That's what this was, like without credits. If you take out all the credits, about 30 minutes. I think it was 37, 38 with all the credits and stuff. I'm excited to see where it goes. Do we see more of the court case that we saw here? Is there some sort of surprise with this, or is it like on to the next case, right? Is it on to the next job even? Because we know she's going to get called in to deal with Abomination and kind of like the supervillain defense team type stuff. So I think now that she showed off and she was able to Hulk out, and I think people are going to realize, oh, so she can do what her cousin can do. And maybe then that'll kind of launch and kick off the story from there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I watched it on like my lunch break on Thursday. I'm going to watch it again with my wife because she hasn't seen it yet. So I'm going to get another viewing in probably before the Thursday episode releases. But overall, really great start. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to next week. Next week, or this week, I guess. Still directed by Kat Coiro. Still written by Jessica Gao. Premiere August 25th. We don't have a title yet. And from there, this show's running until the 13th of October, like we said. So, looking forward to it. Again, Tatiana Maslany, very good. Jamila Jamil, we barely saw her, but she was really great. We're introduced to Nikki Ramos, which is a paralegal and Jennifer's best friend. She's the one that, takes the shoes from Jennifer so she doesn't break them when she hulks out. Obviously, we had Bruce Banner in this as well. Augustus Pug Puglisi is another. It says here he is supportive of Jennifer Walters when she is She-Hulk or not, but I think he was the one that was not very supportive when we saw him, unless this is not the same guy. Hard to tell right now, but there was one guy that was like not very into it at the beginning. He wanted to take the case. Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll get ready to review episode 2 later this week. I'm trying to get it out earlier than the episode that I'm getting out today. So please, hopefully everybody's patient about that. I guess had a lot going on. Glad to be done whatever I was doing. Had some travel. Started a new position at work. So a lot of stuff going on. Settling in now. Should be good to go. But yeah, so if you want to give us a follow, you can reach us at Twitter at TO Infinity Saga, Facebook.com/Infinity Saga Beyond, or you can email us marvelplusrecaps@gmail.com. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. We'll see you next time for episode 2 of She-Hulk Attorney at